Hey everybody! In today's tutorial, I'm just going to do a quick Distress Ink watercolor background around an image called Bring Your Own Sunshine from Technique Junkies. To begin with, I have some Fabriano hot press watercolor paper set up in my MISTI. This is just a little smaller than card front size. And I'm going to begin by stamping the Technique Junkies image in Smoky Slate from Stampin' Up! This is just to help me create my background. This isn't the final stamped image that I'll use, and that's why I'm using my MISTI, so that I can overstamp it perfectly when I'm done. So I'll put that away, and I will get set up for the watercolor. I'm going to use my Ranger Craft Mat as an ink palette over on the left, so I just have that folded in half. And I'm using this Post-it removable tape, 2 inches, to create a horizon line in the background. This is one of my favorite techniques for creating a difference between sky and ground, and I always just use my grid mat from Stampin' Up! To make sure that I get that horizon line straight so it doesn't look like some scary movie from the future where the world is ending. And I'm taking Peacock Feathers Distress Ink, creating a little bit of that on my palette, along with Salty Ocean, which will be the main color. Peacock Feathers will just be an accent. If you just use one blue in the background, it isn't as interesting. That little pop of green from Peacock Feathers is fantastic. Now I am going to add water to the ink to dilute it just a little bit, and I'm sorry, it's very sunny today, and the window in front of my desk is creating some kind of distracting shadows. Sorry about that. But I do love to paint in the sun. So I want this to be very uneven, and so I'm deliberately leaving some white space. I'm not painting a smooth background. I want sort of a moody, atmospheric look, like it's storming. I also, since I used Post-it tape, I didn't get a seal for masking, and that's fine. I didn't want one. If I wanted one, I would have used frog tape, which really does create a great barrier. But I'm actually going to have the sky and the ground mix. So I'm just creating my horizon line with the tape, not really creating a mask. Now this is pumice stone and black soot Distress Ink. I'm going to do the same thing. And it's the same idea. If I just use pumice stone or just use black soot, it wouldn't be as interesting a background as if the two of them are mixed together, just because that pumice stone has a little bit of yellow to liven up the black. But this gives me a good look of wet pavement. And then I'm going to go back and blend the horizon line where the blue and the gray meet, just to make that a little bit more even. And same with the sky. I do want it much darker at the horizon line because I want to draw your eye to the difference between earth and sky. So you can see overall it has that moody look that I really like. Now I'm going to splatter water onto the background. This will leave me with some things that look like raindrops or puddles of water once it's dry and it's reacted with the Distress Ink. So I just cover that up. That's on both the land and the sky. It just gives a little bit more texture, even though this is a pretty textured background. Now I have some Crafter's Companion marker cardstock that I had stamped the image again in Memento on. I'm just going to use Copic markers to color the rain boots a nice shiny yellow with just a little bit of a darker yellow for a shadow. I don't have to color in the lines, of course, because I'll be cutting these out and gluing them on top of the image. This is a very simple image to cut out too, not much fussy cutting. And for some reason, I really like my craft and rubber scissors for cutting cardstock. They're just more comfortable in my hand, even though other scissors do have a finer tip and are more sharp. These just really work better for me. I'm going to take some clear Wink of Stella and add a little sparkle to each of these boots. I love this. It's very hard to photograph, but it sure is fun in real life when you can see that shimmer. So I kind of Wink of Stella everything. Plus it's not messy, it doesn't smell, doesn't require my heat gun. It's just a great finishing touch. Now I'll show you the ground close up in just a second so you can see those little splatters. See how you can see that texture down the bottom? You can also see a little bit of sparkle. I must have had some Wink of Stella on my hands. Now since my paper is a little bit curved and I haven't flattened it out yet, I'm going to go ahead and use 4 magnets. The last thing I want is for this image to be a little bit off of my original stamped image. I'm using VersaFine for a nice crisp black. And I'm going to, because the umbrella is so solid and this is watercolor paper, I'm going to ink it up 4 times. And you'll see me get that umbrella perfectly black. And you're not seeing me inking. This is the magic of editing, but I did. And now it's a nice crisp black. And the contrast of the yellow against that moody background just makes this a fun and kind of uplifting card. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching.